I'm Richard.
And I'm Will.
And together we're
The
Irreverent
Nerds. Bum, bum, bum.
Nerds, I have some exciting news to share. We are now offering a monthly subscription service for our listeners. For the low price of $2.99 per month, subscribers will gain access to 2 bonus episodes and an invitation to a Zoom gathering. Additionally, subscribers who sign up for our email list are eligible to be entered into a monthly prize drawing. So what are you waiting for? Click on the link in the episode description today to get started. Nerds.
And nerds.
We are here once again on the best couch in the land. My last name's Best. So
Oh.
yeah, it's my couch. It's
Well,
the
that
best
makes
couch in
sense.
the land. Of course, if you have to explain a joke, it's not as funny.
You had to explain it to me because I didn't get it.
Yeah, it is late. So we have just finished watching Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
And apparently a short about Spider-Ham.
Yeah, at the very end of the film, at least on this DVD that we rented from Ye Old Red Box, there is a short at the end. Yes, detailing how Spider-Ham gets into Miles Morales' dimension.
I have never seen that before.
I had neither. The last time I saw this was when you and I went to see it in the theater. I don't think I've watched it since then, if memory serves me. But I enjoyed it just as much as I did the first time around. It was really, really good the first time around, and watching it again after seeing a few Spider-Man movies in between, including No Way Home. This, I have to say, this might be the best Spider-Man movie ever made.
It might be. It was really good.
It's definitely top 2, if it's not. No Way Home is up there, but honestly, No Way Home wouldn't entirely work without the other 2 universes that it brings in, obviously. So it's almost like Infinity War, the Infinity War of Spider-Man movies.
This is true.
Whereas this is, it's not completely original in the sense that obviously they drew a lot from the comics and even some from the films as well. Just little bits of Spider-Man storyline kind of nods that they made. But before we jump in too far, let's give a little synopsis here. So the short version is teen Miles Morales becomes the Spider-Man of his universe and must join with 5 spider-powered individuals from other dimensions to stop a threat for all realities.
I guess Penny Parker is technically spider-powered in her own way.
Indirectly, she had a psychic connection with a spider that lives in a robot that her father made. Did I get that right?
I guess so. I didn't realize it was a psychic connection. I didn't know that the spider was in the robot.
Yeah, well, they show that at the very end. I think she says that, but then obviously when the robot dies, she takes the spider out. I couldn't tell if the spider died at that point, or if it was just the robot that died.
I think it was just the robot.
Or if the 2 were linked somehow.
Spider was fine. But I've been wondering during this watch whether or not Penny Parker is original to this film or if Penny Parker is from the Marvel Mangaverse, which I've recently discovered Ben Dunn had a hand in creating the Marvel Mangaverse, apparently, or at least parts of it.
Ben Dunn. I'm not familiar with that name.
Of Antarctica Press, which has been around since I think the 80s. He's done Ninja High School, the comic book series.
Oh, here we go. According to Wikipedia, Penny Parker is a superhero appearing in publications by Marvel Comics. She is an alternate version of Spider-Man. She's depicted as a 14-year-old high school student who was adopted by Aunt May and Uncle Ben following the death of her father, caretaker. She pilots a psychically powered mech suit built by her father known as the SP/SDR, which is partially controlled by a radioactive spider that also shares a psychic link with her. So apparently her first appearance was on the Edge of the Spider-Verse in October 2014.
Oh, okay. So not the mangaverse.
So just
I was wondering.
Just a few years before this film came out. So she was the newest. Well, actually, I don't know. By the way, we've kind of jumped into the middle of the movie. If you haven't seen this yet, spoiler warning up front. We're not gonna try too hard because it's been out for 5 years now. We're not gonna try too hard to go spoiler free here. So if you haven't seen it, pause right now and go see it, because we've already talked about a few characters that you don't meet until roughly halfway through the film. One of whom is Peter Porker.
Yes.
Who I'm curious whether that has gotten a comic book treatment. Spider-Ham. Here we go.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Spider-Ham is a superhero appearing in American comic books published by Marvel Comics. It is an anthropomorphic pig and is a cartoon animal parody version of Spider-Man. He was created by Larry Hama, Tom DeFalco, Stan Lee, and Mark Armstrong. His first appearance was in the one-shot humor comic book Marvel Tales starring Peter Porker, the Spectacular Spider-Ham, in November of 1983.
Oh, yeah.
Nice. So he's been around a while. Have you ever read any of those comics?
I think so, but it's been a long time.
And
love to read more Spider-Ham, of course.
Well, I love that he was voiced by John Mulaney. I don't know if you know who John Mulaney is, but
not prior to this film, no.
So he's a stand-up comedian. Laura and I both love his stuff. He's been doing it for a while now. He got his start as a writer for Saturday Night Live, kind of in the comic industry, and then he's also done stand-up, and then he's become more famous since he left SNL. Got Netflix specials, the whole 9 yards. But yeah, he's pretty well known in the stand-up comedian world. But I did not realize that watching this first time that was him. And actually, I don't know if I knew too much of his comedy back when this first came out. So that's pretty great.
Yeah,
it was great. He plays Peter Porker, Spider-Ham. Spider-Ham.
I learned he was playing Spider-Ham when I watched some behind-the-scenes stuff, but I'm not familiar with the rest of his work.
You have to look him up sometime. Like, you can see his entire Comedy Central special on YouTube. It's
cool.
It's quite funny. I think I've even referenced some of his bits. I think recently, actually, in one of our episodes. But speaking of the cast, tell you what, like this film, which is definitely worth it, man. Like if I had a shot at being an actor in this film, I would jump on it. Like this is an amazing script, and obviously the animation is just gorgeous. So it has attracted some top talent. I mean, now I'm not familiar with Shameik Moore, who does Miles Morales, but I am familiar with most of the other actors. Jake Johnson plays Peter B. Parker, a.k.a. Old Parker, or Old Spider-Man, and he's most well known for playing Nick Miller on New Girl, which Laura and I are actually watching through right now. It's a really funny comedy series. Haley Steinfeld, who also plays in the live-action Marvel universe, plays Gwen Stacy. Mahershala Ali, excellent actor. He's been in things like True Detective, and let's see, I believe he won an Oscar, if I'm not mistaken, for a darn, and I cannot. Moonlight, I think, is the name of the film. I cannot. I know I'm gonna get that wrong. But yeah, he was in Green Book, which a film I saw. Excellent movie. Moonlight. Yeah, it is called Moonlight. Yeah, so he, I believe, won the Oscar for it. I know Moonlight won Best Picture. And he was also in season 3 of True Detective. Excellent HBO series. So I love his work. We got Lily Tomlin playing Aunt May. Zoe Kravitz as Mary Jane. Nicolas Cage. And as Spider-Man Noir, Catherine Hahn as Doc Ock, Liev Schreiber as Wilson Fisk, and Chris Pine as the Spider-Man at the very beginning.
Oh.
So he does the voice of the Spider-Man who dies early on in the film. And Oscar Isaac apparently had a little blip in here. Might have just been the equivalent of a voice actor cameo. I thought that was like, dang, they got some rockin' talent here on the voice actor side. But yeah, let's go through the plot just a little bit, and we can pause as we go and talk about our thoughts and reflections. But before I do that, if we were to, we weren't doing a podcast back in 2018. We just saw it because we're nerds and we love Spider-Man. But if we were to give it a Nerd Hat rating, like how many Nerd Hats would you give it out of 5?
Is giving it 5 nerd hats out of 5 too many?
That's up to you, my friend. You can give it 5 if you want.
I'm gonna give it 5.
Nice. So in your mind, this is a perfect movie.
More or less. I actually like it. I think it works better than No Way Home. Just to give a comparison to a similar Spider-Man multiverse movie.
I agree.
Yeah, I think it works better. It was really good. It's a really good film. I think it was extremely well made. I don't think it was clunky at all or anything like that. I think all the cogs and everything meshed together to create a very well made, flowing film.
I agree as well. This hits on all cylinders. Honestly, has great music, great soundtrack.
Oh yeah,
CGI is gorgeous. Great acting, great writing, editing. Yeah, man. Like I'm gonna give it a 4.75 nerd hats out of 5. On principle, I think I don't know that I've seen the perfect film yet. So I was like, how can I ever give out 5 hats? I don't know. But this is pretty damn close. The only movie I've given this high of a rating was Avatar: The Way of Water, which is arguably this is probably a better film. But in terms of experience in the theater, this is up there as well because it was, it's gorgeous film and it was really cool seeing it in the theater back when we saw it.
Right.
But yeah, I think I'd give it 4.75. It's like near perfect. And yeah, I think honestly, I think I would rate it as the best Spider-Man movie, honestly. Yeah, I think No Way Home would probably be second, and then I think my top 3 would round out with Spider-Man 2, the second Tobey Maguire film.
Right.
Would be my number 3, I think.
I rewatched the Tobey Maguire films some years ago as an adult, and I used to think very highly of those films, and I'm not saying I don't now, but I didn't realize just how campy they were until I was older. I was like, oh my gosh.
That was part of the charm, I feel like. Yeah, Sam Raimi definitely had some camp in there. Yeah, they definitely moved away from that with the 2 Andrew Garfield installments.
Right.
It had some humor, obviously, but definitely nothing campy about those 2 films. But this definitely has some good humor and the different characters, and obviously Peter Porker brings in a bit of the campy side. But yeah, I would agree with you. I think this is a better multiverse movie than No Way Home. I think that is true. So let's see. So getting into the plot. So obviously at the beginning of the film, we hear a voiceover. I'd forgotten it began like this, but we hear a voiceover from Spider-Man, and I actually didn't realize it was Chris Pine at first. Like, I knew that Jake Johnson did older Spider-Man's voice, so I got a little confused at first because it kind of sounded like Jake Johnson, and then I realized why they probably cast Jake Johnson first, because obviously Peter B. Parker has a much bigger part in the movie. But then, I mean, if you could get Chris Pine, I mean, why the heck not? But his voice actually sounds a little similar. He's kind of got that a little bit of that smokiness.
And that's why I was confused at first whether or not it was actually the same actor, but it's not.
Yeah, I thought it was for a minute too, and then I realized, because I had forgotten this because I hadn't seen it in 5 years, I'd forgotten that Miles Morales' universe, his Spider-Man dies in the beginning. I had forgotten about that. So yeah, it's pretty intense.
Right.
Beginning to the film, right?
Right. Well, I remember that. Peter Parker and Peter B. Parker. Sorry, I accidentally licked your microphone. I'll do it again. I'm kidding. I'm a little close. Okay, Peter Parker and Peter B. Parker are so similar. The only difference is that one is younger and has blonde hair. They could have gotten away with the same voice actor playing the character, and just a slightly different performance. But no, completely different actors.
Yeah, no, and I thought this was great. Like, but yeah, I love Jake Johnson as Peter B. Parker, and I loved his performance back when I saw this, and I didn't even know who that actor was at that time. I'm trying to remember. I might have seen him in one thing. I think I had seen him in Safety Not Guaranteed, which is it's a really good like sci-fi comedy film. We should review it sometime. Actually, I think you'd enjoy it.
Cool.
But he was in that. That's the first time I ever saw him in. That might have been before. I know the movie came out before Into the Spider-Verse, but I can't remember if I saw it before. But then since then, obviously, I've watched up to season 3 of New Girl, and yeah, his character is great in New Girl. But no, some of that humor, kind of goofy charm, definitely comes through.
I want to just put this out there that the only actor or actress on the cast that I actually recognize is Nicolas Cage.
Wait, not even Zoe Kravitz? No, you've seen her, and she was in The Batman.
Oh, well.
As Catwoman.
Well, I do now, but I did not know this until now.
By name, maybe.
No, not by name. Recognize her face.
By face, you would know Haley Stanfield as well, because you probably watched.
And who did she play again?
Have you watched the Hawkeye series?
Yes.
So she's going to be basically, I mean, the new Hawkeye.
Right.
Like,
for Hawkeye.
The Young Avengers.
For Jeremy Renner.
Yeah. Still recovering. It's going to be a long recovery.
I'm not sure how he's doing, but I have my doubts whether or not he can get back into the Hawkeye role or not.
Yeah, that might be the end of, which is fitting that we did the series, was able to do that. So I have a feeling, yeah, he'll probably have to hang up his action movie. Although you never know. I mean, there's no reason why they couldn't necessarily bring him back in some format where he doesn't have to do action stuff. And obviously they have stunt doubles that they can use as well. But yeah, he's probably not going to be doing any more fight scenes for quite some time.
No.
But yeah,
probably not.
We send our best wishes to you. And by the way, Mr. Renner, I doubt you'll ever hear this, but just in case you do, which would be very cool.
Thoughts and prayers and thoughts.
Yeah, he seems like a really cool guy.
And vibes and.
They've got a special on. He does this really interesting thing where he like remodels. Obviously not currently, but was doing up until his accident. Remodeling buses and turning them into like these really cool community. I don't even know what to call it. Like, but there's a show on Disney Plus right now about it called Renovation.
Yeah, my wife started watching that before we lost Disney Plus.
Nice. Yeah, I had heard about that he did that before they came out with the show, but I have not watched an episode yet of it myself. But yeah, so getting back to the plot here, so obviously we get introduced to Miles and his family, and then Miles and his uncle, and and his uncle, obviously played by Mahershala Ali, Uncle Aaron. They go out to do some tagging, i.e., graffiti art, and it's there that Miles gets bit by. Well, I had actually forgotten this part, but a multi-dimensional radioactive spider.
Well,
Or a radioactive spider from another dimension, I think.
yeah, I was confused about it. As Liv Doc Ock says later in the film, glitching. I was confused about it glitching. I guess it became radioactive because of the collider.
I don't know, like, because it had a number imprinted on it, so it may have been one of the experimental ones. Like, I don't know, like, because you remember, like, with the Amazing Spider-Man, like the spider that bites him was an experimental spider.
Right.
Like and there was a bunch of them, and one of them got loose and bit him. They're like, "There's one missing." So this one had a number on it, so it almost made me wonder, like, did it come from the equivalent of that universe, or what?
I guess so, and it was an Alchemex corporation's.
Nerds, we would love to find out who is on the other side of the microphone. There are multiple options by which you can connect with us. Our Instagram handle is @irreverent_nerds. We are on Facebook and YouTube as simply The Irreverent Nerds. Makes sense, right? And of course, we are on your podcast app. If you listen on Spotify, scroll down through the episode description and you will see a question. What did you think of this episode? We welcome your feedback, including your constructive criticism. We also post episode-specific polls and questions from time to time on Spotify, so please feel free to jump in and give us your 2 cents. All right, nerds, I've talked enough. Let's get back to this week's episode.
Spider, it was not Oscorp.
Yeah, Oscorp does not show up, although Norman Osborn does, or at least his name is Norman, aka the Green Goblin. He's massive in this. Like if he took performance enhancing injection, it did a lot more than just give him strength. He turned into a literal goblin, like a massive goblin.
Well, like a dragon, but
yeah, almost. Yeah.
Well, the Peter Parker in this film and the rest of Miles Morales' universe is based on I think it's called the Ultimate Spider-Man universe.
Oh, okay.
The Ultimate Marvel universe. In which case, Green Goblin did actually transform into more of a monstrous form. So I think that's where that inspiration came from.
Cool.
I believe in the comics, it was the Green Goblin and Spider-Man that killed each other, and Kingpin was not, or Collider was not involved, but it was cool how they were able to string all those plot points together.
Yeah, and that you're breathing into the mic, by the way, my friend.
Sorry.
It's okay. I can hear it because I got the
Ooh.
No. So yeah, we have that. So after Miles gets bit, I forget how he runs. I think I missed that part. Like how he runs in the super collider or gets caught up in all of that. But he's there. That's right. Because it was just on the other side of the tunnels and stuff where he was at, which we find out later is probably also why his uncle knew that was there, because we find out that his uncle's working for Wilson Fisk. As I'm trying to remember his character, the name of his, or if he had one, like his character.
Well, it was the Prowler.
Prowler, that's right, the Prowler. So yeah, he's a intelligent bad guy with a superpowered suit, and
which is apparently not bulletproof.
Yeah, apparently not, because, spoiler warning, he dies later. There is no Uncle Ben in this universe, but there is an Uncle Aaron for Miles, and he dies. Um, you know, yeah, and that, obviously we're fast forwarding a bit as far as the plot's concerned, but no, he has Miles Morales dressed as Spider-Man on the ropes, and he's about to kill him, and Miles pulls his mask up, and then Uncle Aaron, he can't go through with it, and Wilson Fisk kills him because he's not doing his job.
Right.
And or shoots him anyway. He dies shortly afterwards.
I assumed that Chris Pine Parker had an Uncle Ben, but that's not important to the story, so they left it out. And Uncle Aaron apparently would be Miles Morales' Uncle Ben, and instead of parting him with great power comes great responsibility line, apparently he gets the "you are the best of us, keep going" line or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder how important that is to Miles Morales' character growth.
Well, obviously the death is definitely, like, that's something, and he, like, blames himself for it, which doesn't make any sense. He wasn't even remotely involved in this case, but he still feels the way of, like, I couldn't save him, I couldn't stop, Kingpin, that kind of thing. And then the other Spider character is, Spider Gwen, or Spider Woman, as she's called,
or Ghost Spider in some of the comics.
They're able to console him and share that they too have lost someone important to them. So it's obviously a feature of Spider-Man's development across the multiverse.
Well, who did Peter Porker, the Spider-Ham, lose though?
Well, they don't say, but he kind of expresses sympathy, but yeah, he doesn't say who he lost.
I don't know that he lost anyone, but I'm just playing around here for a second.
My dad got turned into bacon.
Well, the strange thing about Peter Porker is that he's actually a spider bitten by a radioactive pig.
Yeah, I thought that was hilarious.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, actually, no, I missed the part that he was a spider, and he turned into a pig.
Yes.
Oh, never mind then.
So his Uncle Ben would have been a spider.
My uncle got squished.
Actually, I think Aunt May in this universe was a scientist.
Yeah, she's pretty badass.
No, I mean Peter Porker's Aunt May was a scientist.
Oh.
Pig.
Wait.
But they're not actually related.
Yeah.
He just turns into a pig, and he just lets him stay. She just lets him stay there and live there.
Huh.
You're now my nephew. I have destroyed Richard's brain. He cannot handle it.
I was trying to figure out where to go next. So we got off track.
Where can we go from Peter Porker?
So obviously Spider-Man, the Spider-Man is killed, and
goodbye Peter Parker, whatever.
We get a glimpse, and we eventually find out more, but we get a glimpse of why Wilson Fisk is creating the Collider in the first place, and he's wanting to get back a version of, like, his wife and son,
right,
who came in on him beating up Spider-Man and were shocked by what he had done. Obviously, they must not have known he was a criminal, I guess. He'd been hiding that from them, and they run away, and while they're driving away, they get killed by another driver. So the motivating force behind him is wanting to get his wife and son back, but not his real wife, but a version of. So in essence, he wants to steal them from another Wilson Fisk, I guess.
I think if I had written this movie, I would have been tempted to have another Wilson Fisk fighting this Wilson Fisk.
Yeah.
But that would have been subtracted from the overall plot and presence of Miles Morales, so obviously a good thing they didn't.
Yeah, no, that I think you're right. That would have pulled away, but But yeah, that gives some gravitas and also some humanity to his character as well. He's not just a meathead mafia boss. You know what I mean?
By the way, he's got such a weird character design. His back is like is way above his head,
Yeah,
his
he's like a
shoulders.
giant square with a little head in the
I
middle.
kind of dig it, but it's kind of distracting too.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, in every iteration, it is definitely more abstract. I don't know if that's the right word. Compared to, obviously, I'm thinking of like the animated series from the '90s. You know, Kingpin in that was massive as well, but his head was on top of his body, his shoulders not below it.
Yes.
Oh, maybe this is Quasimodo Fisk.
Ha ha ha
He's
ha.
like constantly bent over. Did they ever say like what the source of his? I mean, obviously he's a big dude, but like, Is there some source of his massive strength? Like, is it just because he's a big dude?
He skipped anger management.
Oh man.
I don't think he has any special powers. I think he's just really strong. But maybe the comics have explained it, and I'm just unaware of it.
So speaking of someone that doesn't have special powers other than a big brain, so we have Doc Ock in Miles Morales' universe, is a female scientist, and we I had actually forgotten that the scientist was Doc Ock. Again, it's been a while since I've seen this, but I think I made the comment while they were fighting, like she gets punched multiple times by multiple spider people and doesn't go unconscious. And I'm like, that's the one thing. Even Spider-Man 2, this may be the one weak point in the fight scenes because there's nothing that gets enhanced about his body. He's just linked to the arms. So like one punch from Spider-Man would knock him out or kill him, in the real world. Because he's just a normal human. He's got the arms, but if he got punched in the face, that's it. That's all she wrote. You know what I mean?
Well, that's the magic of comic book movies. I guess in universe we could just claim that Spider-Man is pulling his punches because he knows that. I don't know.
There you go. Yeah, I mean, he doesn't want to kill him. Obviously, Spider-Man doesn't. He, in general, tries not to kill villains, except for in Spider-Man 3, where he thinks he's killed Sandman. Definitely tries to kill Sandman.
Right,
And,
right.
but which, by the way, I rewatched that not too long ago. I've never thought it's as terrible as a lot of people say. Like I enjoyed it when I saw it I saw it in IMAX actually back in 2007. It's one of the actually I think it might have been the first big movie because back then there weren't that many IMAX screens around. You had to actually go to Raleigh. It was the only IMAX in North Carolina. I think it might have been the only IMAX that showed feature films around. Like there was one down in Charlotte, but it didn't show feature films. I don't think. Actually, maybe it did, but the only IMAX 3D around, I think, was the one in Raleigh, which is still probably one of the best because the sound, for whatever reason, like our local IMAX here, the sound setup is just not as good as the one in Raleigh. I don't know if it's just they took their time with it more, but anyway, that's also where I saw one of the places I saw Avatar, if memory serves me. I think I drove out there and watched it, if I remember.
I remember you trying to get me to drive out with you to go see Batman, but
Oh yeah,
I didn't feel like.
The Dark Knight.
Yeah, I mean, in retrospect, I probably should have, but at the time, I didn't feel like. I guess I've never been much of a road trip person.
I do like road trips. Although not as much. Like now, I have 4 kids, so it's road trips are exhausting.
Right.
But I still like them in general. Um, but yeah, not quite as much with 4 kids involved. Nothing against my kids, obviously. It's just exhausting. Uh, so we have in this one we have something we've never had in a Spider-Man film before. We have a Spider-Man training another Spider-Man. which I thought was pretty cool. So
Oh yeah.
old Spider-Man training new Spider-Man. He didn't have to figure all of it out himself. Excuse me. So that was kind of cool. Kind of cool. It was also kind of cool to see which we do get to see in No Way Home as well, a little bit, with Tobey Maguire's character, but we do get to see an older Spider-Man, which I think he said he'd been doing it for 22 years, so he's probably around 38, 40, so our age.
Right.
He's got a little bit of a gut. He's divorced and depressed.
Very depressed.
Yeah, probably having a midlife crisis a bit. And then he gets pulled into another universe, and he's reborn.
Bum bum bum. Reborn as a homeless corpse.
Hell yeah. Yeah, that was pretty funny. As they pull into, it's like, it looks like someone dressed as in a Spider-Man suit is dragging a homeless corpse through the city. No, that's pretty good. So I guess running out of things to say. It is getting late.
It is getting late.
But yeah, we just thoroughly enjoyed this rewatch. Like I said, I think I would now, watching this again, even after having seen No Way Home, which I do plan to rewatch No Way Home again before too long, which I obviously thoroughly enjoyed that as well.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I think I would rank this just above it. I think No Way Home, I might give maybe a 4.25. Not quite as high as this film. It had some problems. It did redeem Electro, though, I will say, and that was pretty cool. Much better Electro than in The Amazing Spider-Man 2, which I think Jamie Foxx will also agree with. Yeah, just a better version of that character. And but yeah, it was obviously a really good movie. And yeah, sad that Aunt May dies though.
Yeah.
Spoiler.
So speaking of that, I know we're talking about Into the Spider-Verse, but do you think they'll ever make another Tom Holland Spider-Man movie?
That I don't know. I've heard, I hear occasional blips and rumors about it in the nerdverse, as they say, or as I say. I don't know who they is in this context, but yeah, throughout the nerdverse, I follow things like Nerdist and IGN.com, places like that are in the know, and yeah, I haven't heard for sure at this point whether there's going to be another Tom Holland or not, or whether he'll make another appearance.
Right. It's just pure speculation.
Yeah, I don't know if they're. Honestly, I hope they don't do another reboot with an origin story again.
No, I hope not.
I'd rather them do for instance, I'd rather them do an old Spider-Man. Now, I did hear speculation, at least, is Tobey Maguire finally going to make his fourth film? Well, his fourth standalone, which, dude, I'd be all for that. I wonder if they'd bring Sam Raimi back for it. That would be interesting.
That would be interesting.
I'm trying to remember. Wasn't so I know it was in development, and then it kind of went to shit. And I think there wasn't a disagreement between Sam Raimi, I think, and Sony Pictures or something like that, or Marvel Studios.
On Spider-Man 4, or you mean the third one?
Yeah, the fourth one. And then when Sam Raimi pulled out or was kicked out, Tobey Maguire was like, I'm not going to do it without Sam, and it kind of just all fell apart.
Yeah, pretty much. I know that Sam Raimi was fighting the studio during Spider-Man 3 as well, so...
I think they forced him... Didn't they force him to put Venom in?
Yes, they did.
Which he made it work pretty well overall. I don't know that the casting was the greatest necessarily.
No.
No knock on... Not necessarily knock on Topher Grace. I think it could have been better, I think.
Yeah, it could have been better. My only regret, not that I had anything to do with it, concerning the new Venom films by Sony, is that Spider-Man is not a part of its origin. But
yeah, they were in hard legal battles with Disney slash
yeah,
Marvel Studios at the time, so they couldn't pop him in there yet. Although he does, I think in the second Venom he gets in one of the cutscenes, like they do show Tom Holland at some point.
yes, and
like Venom briefly gets pulled into another dimension, so to speak.
and Venom apparently has some sort of multiversal hive mind knowledge of who Spider-Man is, but all I'm saying is that compared to what we got in the Sam Raimi film, at least the Tom Hardy Venom is more enjoyable.
Wait, there's definitely more humor,
Yeah,
like between the characters. Like, yeah, of that, it's definitely not my favorite Tom Hardy performance. Not even close. But it is I think of the three Venoms that I've seen. Actually, I take that back. Of the four Venoms, I think the animated series Venom is still my favorite.
right.
I think that treatment is still my favorite as well of the ones I've seen. Like, even down to the Eddie Brock in that series was kind of a dunce. But when he combines with Venom, the Venom voice and stuff like that still works. And yeah, I need to go back and revisit that someday. Like, that was probably my favorite story arc from the 90s animated series. Joker here. I'd like to take a moment to talk to you about the Irreverent Nerds. They're sitting here in my hideout, all tied up. So they can't say this themselves, but they would like you to know that there are multiple options by which you can connect with them. Their Instagram handle is @irreverent_nerds. They're on Facebook and YouTube as simply the Irreverent Nerds. Ugh, so pedantic. And of course, they are on your podcast app. If you listen on Spotify, scroll down and you will see a question. What did you think of this episode? They welcome your feedback, or so they told me. They also post episode-specific polls and questions from time to time, so please feel free to jump in and give them your 2 cents while they're still alive. All right, nerds, I've talked enough. Let's get back to this week's episode. It might be their last. Anyway, we're getting off topic here. So that's our review of Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, and I think it's fair to say we're both looking forward to Spider-Man through the multiverse. Is that right?
Yes.
Spider-Man.
And any other Spider-Man projects that might come out.
Yeah. Any of the? Oh, actually, it's Across the Spider-Verse.
Oh, my mistake.
Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. So this is coming out next week. Summary, according to IMDb, is Miles Morales catapults across the multiverse where he encounters a team of spider people charged with protecting its very existence. When the heroes clash on how to handle a new threat, Miles must redefine what it means to be a hero.
That reminds me, speaking of the Spider-Verse, I believe Sony's making a Madam Web movie.
Ah.
So, looking forward to what that might bring as well.
Okay. Interesting. Madam, I do remember, I think, catching a couple of episodes. Oh. Sorry, I'm looking at the cast for it. So this is where Oscar Isaac came in. He was in the cutscene. He plays Miguel.
Right.
O'Hara. That's where he came in this version. So it looks like he's going to be playing a bigger part of the next film. Oh, Issa Rae is in it, as far as actors. Rachel Dratch, Andy Samberg, Jason Schwartzman. Ooh, Daniel Kaluuya is in here. Nice.
So, do you think lightning will strike twice, and the second Spider-Verse movie will be as good?
I hope so. It is hard to top a really good origin story, but we'll see. We'll see. Like, I'm definitely hopeful. You know, they did an excellent job on the first one. So but obviously it's not easy to match or top a really good first movie with the sequel. But we'll see how they do. Apparently, this is officially going to be the longest animated CGI animated film ever made.
Really?
2 hours and 20 minutes.
That doesn't seem that long, though.
Or the large. Yeah, it doesn't seem too long, but yeah, most animated films are more tracking at like 90 minutes.
Huh.
So yeah, this one's definitely longer. But no, yeah, I'm excited. Like, that would be pretty sweet to see it in IMAX. Actually, I don't know if we can. We'll have to see if it's in our budget.
We will see.
It's not cheap. That would be pretty sweet, though. Well, friends. So that, in part because it's coming out, that might end up dropping as a subscriber-only review when we do that. Just because it's coming out so early in the month, and our movie of the month episodes are not until the end of the month. But we're actually, I think next month's movie of the month will be the last episode of season 3. As we're coming up on the end of season 3. We're gonna do 25 episodes, and then we're gonna take a week off, and then we got season 4 coming out after that. But next week, I was thinking, I think this is multiversal thing, so I think it qualifies as sci-fi. Maybe not in the traditional sense, but I thought we'd do Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Oh, I've been wanting to watch that.
Yeah, kind of stick with this multiverse theme. And yeah, I just picked up a copy of it at Redbox, bought it for $2.50. Yeah, hard to beat that, but I've heard really good things, and obviously I want to say it won an Oscar, I think. Definitely won some awards in award season. Like, I think Michelle Yeoh, won for Best Actress, if I'm not mistaken.
Nice.
Maybe either the Golden Globe or the Oscars. I'm not sure which, but maybe both. I don't know. But yeah, like it was very highly touted by critics. Didn't necessarily make a ton of money in the box office, but that's to me, I think that's not necessarily a test of a good film. Like that's definitely not a guarantee of a good film. I mean, just look at the Transformers movie.
Ha ha ha.
They made a buttload of money, but I would not call them great films.
I would not.
Enjoyable, yeah, for the most part, but great, no. No.
All I can think of is Autobots peeing oil on people, Chihuahuas having sex, and edible brownies.
And not to mention giant balls.
Is that from the pee scene?
No. It's I think it's either the second or I think it's from the second one, Revenge of the Fallen. There's this scene where there's the world, like this massive transformer. It's like huge transformer, like a beast. Apparently, it actually literally broke the servers. Like as they were trying to render that scene, there was so much data, like the computers couldn't handle it.
Wow.
This thing was so massive. But then it has these two hanging balls, and of course, some of the Transformers make a joke about it. I was like, okay, that's dumb, Michael Bay.
I would have to say that I'll have to rewatch that to figure out what you're talking about, but I don't feel like it.
No, I might go back and rewatch the first. I did enjoy the first two, and the third one actually, financially was the most successful. Actually, made over $1 billion at the box office worldwide, and it was good. And it had, I mean, as those three movies go, it was, I think, probably better than the second one. And it had Anthony Hopkins was in it, which I'm sure he just did that for a paycheck.
Ka-ching!
Not that he needs it, but yeah, I was like, but who knows? Maybe he was like, well, this might be interesting. I just wanted him in the middle of it to be like, Clarice.
I could become relevant.
Clarice.
Not that he's not relevant. I'm just saying sometimes actors, actresses, musicians will do something that they probably shouldn't just because they think it'll help their career stay relevant.
Yeah,
just want to put that out there. I'm not saying he's not relevant.
Oh, I mean, Sir Anthony Hopkins, yeah.
Yeah, no.
Oh, man. I'm surprised, actually. So this film, I was just looking up Box Office Mojo ratings, like Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. It only made $384 million. I'm actually kind of surprised.
Wow.
That's sad, because I'd say arguably... Now, obviously, the Peter Parker that's in No Way Home has so much more that he's coming from. And then you have the other two movies all build up. So it is basically the Infinity War of Spider-Man movies. I think that is definitely part of why it made so much money. It made like $1.9 billion or something crazy like that.
I'm sure there was a ton of anticipation for the return of Tobey Maguire.
Yeah, that too. And but I think arguably this is a better film. Not by much. They're both really good films. And I thoroughly loved No Way Home. But yeah, I think arguably this is a better film, and definitely as a standalone comparison. But yeah, that's kind of disappointing. But so I'm pretty sure the second one is going to make more than that. I'm going to predict. I'm going to predict at least 800 million right now. I'm going to predict that at least 800 million. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if I'm right.
We will see.
Speaking of movies that made a lot of money, Super Mario Brothers movie is currently sitting at $1.25 billion. That thing is been very popular.
Ka-ching, ka-ching. Woohoo! Woohoo!
All right, nerds, we're going to sign off. Thanks for joining us once again. Like I said, listen out next week for Everything Everywhere All at Once, our review of that for Sci-Fi Week. And then we're hoping to have artist Elijah Miller back on for Comic Book Week.
Cool.
So he and I are talking about that, and he said he should be available. So guys, be keeping an eye. He's going to give us an update on where his art career is at and how he's doing with his graphic novel that he's working on and all that good stuff. And we're also going to talk some comics, some of his favorites like Bone and different things like that that he grew up loving. So yeah, should be a good episode. So that's our next two episodes coming up. And yeah, guys, keep an ear out as always. And until next time, live long and prosper.
Sayonara.
Thank you so much for joining us for another episode of the Irreverent Nerds podcast. If you would, consider following us on Instagram. We are there at irreverent_nerds. You can also hit us up on Facebook. Just look us up there at the Irreverent Nerds. That's our fan page. We have a YouTube channel as well. Once again, the Irreverent Nerds. Nice and simple, right? And if you go to www.irreverentnerds.com, that will send you to our Podcasters for Spotify, formerly Anchor.fm profile, where you can send us a voice message if you want to, support us financially, or listen to the podcast. It will also direct you to other places you can listen, like Spotify, Apple, Google, Stitcher, you name it. So, like, comment, subscribe, follow, all those good things. Wherever you find us, wherever you listen to us, we would greatly appreciate it. Until next time, nerds, live long and prosper. Avengers assemble! I'm Batman.